try to be cool. I mean, you're wearing a corduroy blazer.
I know.
And like, come on.
No.
Ed Helms and Randall Park are two cool guys, and they're teaming up for a brand new show. Plus, we've got the stories that define the week on People Intent. I'm Andrea Belke, bringing you everything you need to know about pop culture right now. We've got 10 minutes, so let's dive right in with the first 5. Starting with a story you've been loving on People.com. By now, you've probably seen this post of Michael B. Jordan and his girlfriend, Lori Harvey, getting cozy as they rang in the new year.
But the one person who claimed that he hadn't seen these photos was Lori's dad, Steve Harvey.
But in an interview with Ellen this week, that all changed.
Look at that, that's happening in front of you?
I've never seen that picture before.
Steve had a very relatable reaction to the steamy photo.
Very uncomfortable with that picture right there.
But Steve went on to give Michael some props. He revealed that this is actually the second Christmas that he spent with the Harvey family, and that he's actually a really good gift giver.
That's why I like him. That boy come through with some, he trying to impress a family.
And we can't forget, Steve turned 65 on Monday, so a very happy birthday to him. Next up, a story for all you royal watchers. The new exhibit, Princess Diana Accredited Access, is giving the public an unfiltered look at the late royal's life.
Images by photographer Anwar Hussein will be on display, showing Diana's journey from shy-die to a confident global icon. He tells people that he saw every side of Diana and that she was a genuine, good human being. And the exhibit really reflects his unique perspective.
Hussein's famous photos include Diana getting caught in the rain with Luciano Pavarotti, and this one in front of the Taj Mahal, which almost didn't happen.
In 1992, Diana went to India with her then-husband Prince Charles, but was left to visit the monument on her own. Hussein says he didn't know if Diana would actually show up that day, and when she did arrive, he remembers how sad she looked, and the couple separated later that year.
These days, the 84-year-old's children are continuing his work.
His son Samir took that award-winning photo of Meghan and Harry walking in the rain of March 2020, shortly before they stepped down as senior working royals.
While his other son Zach snapped this photo of Kate and William in 2016, mirroring Diana's visit 24 years earlier. Now onto the posts you've been loving this week. Even in one of her final photos, Betty White was as radiant, beautiful, and happy as ever. Her assistant shared the image to mark what would have been Betty's 100th birthday on Monday, while Google paid tribute with a Golden Girls themed search graphic. Serena Williams is known for her dominant backhand, and now her daughter Olympia is following in mom's footsteps. In a new video, the 4-year-old is seen showing off an impressive swing, while the caption reminds us all, practice makes progress. And just over 1 week after Full House patriarch Bob Saget's sudden death, his co-star Jodie Sweetin has some happy news. She's engaged. Jodie shared this smiling selfie, holding up her new bling alongside now fiancé Mezcal Wasilewski, and writing that she can't wait to see the life that lies ahead. In this week's People Cover story, Rob Lowe is opening up about how he survived Hollywood.
Up until I turned 26, I spent that all investing in my career. From 26 on, I've invested in me, my spirituality, my recovery, my marriage, my family. That's what I've invested in. I've done, and a lot of it has been, hard.
Now, the 57-year-old says his infamous 1988 sex tape scandal was actually the best thing that ever happened to him.
It started a process of self-reflection that ended a year later when my grandfather passed away and I was not able to fully participate for my family in the way I would have wanted to. And that's when I realized it was time to get into recovery.
And it all seems to have worked out.
I've never been happier, professionally or personally. And I feel like I have the right mix of ambitious restlessness and contentment.
And finally, some sad news out of the fashion world. Former Vogue creative director André Leon Talley died this week. TMZ reported on Tuesday that the style icon had been in the hospital battling an unknown illness. Fans and friends reacted to the news on social media, with designer Diane von Furstenberg saying no one was more soulful or grander than Talley. He first joined Vogue in 1983 and rose to become the right hand of editor-in-chief Anna Wintour, who released a statement calling the loss of Talley immeasurable. He then left Vogue in 1995 to return to W magazine, where he worked earlier in his career. He'd eventually come back to Vogue as editor-at-large before officially leaving the publication in 2013. In 2017, a documentary about his life was released.
I think it was the first time they'd ever seen a black man in Paris at the fashion shows in a position of importance and influence.
And in May of 2020, Talley published a memoir chronicling his improbable rise from the front porch of his grandmother's home in Durham, North Carolina, to the front row of fashion weeks around the world. André Leon Talley was 73 years old. Our thoughts go out to all who knew and loved him. Now, let's move on to some screen time. I am joined now by Ed Helms and Randall Park, the stars of the new series True Story with Ed and Randall, which is out now on Peacock.
What genre would you call this story?
Horror mystery.
Action.
Inspirational.
For these final 5 minutes of the show, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. For question number 1, you have to give me 1 answer. For question number 2, you have to give me 2 answers, and so on. Let's get started. First up, on the show, you two sit down and listen to some extraordinary stories from ordinary people. Watching the two of you on the show together is such a delight. So what is one reason that you each think the two of you make a great pairing?
Chemistry.
Handsomeness.
Talk to me about the chemistry.
Randall and I have known each other for a while, and it's just always such an easy hang.
There's not a lot of ego, you know?
I also love the blazer look. I mean, it's a very stylish show. Whose idea were the blazers?
I mean, who doesn't love velvet?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the idea was that this storytelling space is kind of sacred, and that we wanted to honor it with some sort of nod to formality.
And if you look close on the blazers, there's like an insignia with an ear, because that's what we do. We listen.
If the tables turned, what are the 2 true stories that you would tell if you were on the show?
I might dip into the years when I was a BMX racer and I would jump my bike while listening to Europe's The Final Countdown.
You still listen to it.
I still listen to it every morning.
My story, I mean, I won't go into it. It's an elementary school crush I had, and it involves spin the bottle, and it ends in heartbreak, but it's funny.
Wait, why does it end in heartbreak?
I knew it would land on her. I just knew fate would lead me towards her. She ended up spinning it. It landed on someone else. Not a nemesis per se, not my favorite person. There's a lot to it, but it was one of the worst days of my life.
Oh, well, I look forward to that episode. You're both musically inclined. Randall, you've been in multiple hip-hop bands.
Various vats full of raps for your merrymen, made monks in a monastery, get gregarious.
And Ed, you have a bluegrass band yourself. So I'm wondering, what are 3 musical acts that you are loving right now?
My daughter has gotten me into sea shanties.
Come to bring us sugar and tea and rum.
And so I have this like sea shanty playlist that we listen to in the car, and it's the most fun imaginable.
I've been listening to a lot of old jazz standards.
And covered by the solid skies above.
I'm trying to be cool. I mean, you're wearing a corduroy blazer.
I know.
And like, come on.
No, it's just, that's what I've been listening to. You know, like Ella Fitzgerald.
I'm gonna go back to the kids, well, The Lion King.
Oh.
Something you both also have in common is your girl dads, which is so fun. Now we know kids can say and do the most surprising things. So what are 4 things your daughters have done recently that surprised you or made you laugh? You can each give me 2.
My daughter, she loves arts and crafts, and she made her own like book. And she made this character, and the character goes to London. In the story, the character is in a room the whole time, gets sick, ends up eating a ton of ice cream. It could take place anywhere, but it just happened to be in London.
My daughter, who is a toddler, just for context, she got very mad at me, and she said, "Walk right through the kitchen and out that door." Bizarre and specific and just hilarious.
The other day, my daughter was like, "I want to go to Kefik." And I was like, what's Kefik? And it turns out she wanted to go to KFC.
Lots of instruments around the house all the time, and my daughter will just pick up anything and just start improvising these insane songs. Mostly nonsense, but sometimes she'll just connect some weird thing and they're genius.
And finally, give me 5 words to describe True Story with Ed and Randall.
Hilarious.
He says one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Your immediate response is, that's a great idea.
True.
This really happened. I got on top of the desk.
Friendship!
Heartfelt.
You guys are badass. That was the best game I ever seen.
Wait, who was that? I think that was the coach's nephew. Maybe.
Poignant.
Yes.
I am blown away.
You are an incredible person.
Just joyful.
Joyful. Joyful, yes.
Randall and Ed, thank you so much for joining us. And everyone, be sure to check out True Story with Ed and Randall, which is streaming now on Peacock. All right, time's up. See you next Thursday.